Hello students, welcome to Sagar Group of Institutions, Bhopal. Today I am Professor Udit Veer Singh Rajput and as we all know that we are discussing about the pre-placement trainings and what was the aim? The aim was to review your lost sharpness, fluent knowledge of your mother branch and finally placement in good firms. We are talking about basic network analysis and in my previous videos already I have discussed about these two, video 1 and video 2. And in this video 3, we will be talking about approaches of theorem to circuit solving. Now, this is very important here to know that what is the circuit meaning. है So, in my last videos, I have already explained you about inductor and capacitor, how about their behavior in the time domain, and what is the need of the theorems now. This we need to know. So let's move students. Look at this slide. If you will see, you can find that I have taken two circuits again. This is, let me take a pen. Uh, this is your AC circuit and this is your DC circuit. Okay. And before starting the theorems, I would like to tell you the steady state analysis about the AC and DC passive elements representation. This is the formula which you have to remember always in the time domain. And our next aim is Laplace transform domain and Fourier transform domain. Okay. So, and these formulas which I described on the screen are time domain. Okay, di by dt and all. So this integration of time t. This is time domain. Now when we talk about Laplace domain and Fourier domain, what are they? You must remember, students, this fact that d by dt is also known as s. Differentiation term in the Laplace is known as s, and the meaning of s is j into omega. Okay. So if I will ask you about the formula of L, d by dt is given here and I, then what you will substitute of d by dt? You will substitute d by dt as s, L. L is given this L I have written here, and d by dt is L and I of s. I of t means in the Laplace it is I of s, and this is b of s. That means s into L. SL is what now? We have converted L, that is in Henry, into ohms by multiplying it with Laplace factor S. Alright, and if I will substitute this S as j omega, if I will substitute this S as j times omega, then this will become j omega L. Getting it or not? So there are different places where we are using j omega, there are different places where we are using SL, and why we are using all these things? Just to make calculation easier, because when the circuit becomes complex and complex and complex, maybe the equations can take us to first order, then second order we have already studied, it can either reach to third order also. To make easy mathematics, we are using Laplace transformations. Okay, so what next? So theorems. Before the theorems, I think I have clearly told you students that if there is a resistance, you can see here, this is the resistance, this is the inductance, and this is the capacitance. Then this inductance in terms of Laplace, inductance can be represented as S into L, and in terms of that in terms of your Fourier, it will be represented as j omega L, j omega L. Okay, and when we talk about capacitance, then 1 by SC and 1 by j omega C. This I am representing capacitive resistance, and this is inductive resistance, reactance it is known as. So this you must know that Inductor and capacitor can be represented in the Laplace domain because we have to make the circuit analysis easier. Now, today's topic was theorems. Now, so many theorems, students, you have studied. Okay, so let us start the theorem portion, students. I think the so this theorem portion we have to start. There was a technical mistake. So let me go where I was. This all I have discussed. I was talking about the theorems portion. Okay, so these so many theorems to students you have studied. Tell the Thevenin's theorem, your Norton's theorem, superposition theorem, maximum power transfer, composition, super substitution, reciprocity, and your uh, and Telegans theorem. These so many theorems already you have studied, students. All the seven to eight theorems I have marked till now. Now, what is the issue? Why we are using the theorem? This is the main point of discussion. What is the importance of this Thevenin's theorem? Why you are studying? You all know how to solve the circuit, but from where that circuit is coming? Why do these two theorems are important and why this theorem is very important? Maximum power transfer theorem. This is the very important theorem in the course. Uh, okay, so let me tell you about India first. If you see in this diagram in the Indian scenario, what you can see here, you can clearly see that India is an interconnected system. So many generators in the north, so many generators in the south, in the west, in the east. Everywhere there are generating plants, everywhere there are loads people consuming. So if you see this transmission network, the current is coming in the wire. This wire where current is traveling from the source to the load. If the current is traveling, this is an AC current, and then it is from these towers, it is coming to our homes. Okay. So we have already studied that this current carrying conductor is behaving like a inductor. Distributed elements. This is behaving like an inductor, and between these two wires there is a separation of air, and this air there is a presence of capacitor. Distributed capacitors are present over the here. Distributed capacitors are present here. So the whole transmission network of India can be summarized or can be squeezed into a R, L, and C circuit, which are the passive elements which we have studied. But there are so many series and parallel connections. If suppose I would like to find how much is the current is going in this industry, I want to find what is the amount of current I am supplying in here, or I am supplying to my home, or some different places. If I want to calculate, for those purpose we need to study Thevenin's theorem. Okay, so in the previous diagram, if you see, let us assume that I want to find the current here at my home. So this home will become my what? Load resistance RL. And what is this? The complete network. What is this network? What is this network? So many interconnection series and parallel network. From this point, there are from here, from my home, I will mark 2 points, and I will say that these 2 points are the point where my load resistance is present, and this is the source, or many sources can be assumed, and this circuit can be converted into a simple circuit. So this is the resistance. This is the resistance, students, on a very big network I have shown you. This is that voltage which is the my home voltage, and this is my home resistance, load resistance, and then easily I can calculate the current, and the formula of current will be VTH upon RTH plus RL. So this is the very important thing. Now, why Norton's theorem? When already we are having Thevenin's theorem, we can find current anywhere. Why Norton's theorem? Because you all know, you have studied sixth semester. There is so much change of load. There is so much of change of load you have seen, and as the load changes, there is a drop in the voltage in the load side. If there is a drop in the voltage, then by finding out the value of change of current, I can find the value of change of the resistance. Voltage is changing. If the voltage is changing, that voltage is changing due to the change of the load. And what load contains? Load contains resistance. So this resistance can be controlled or can be calculated by Norton's current. So for this purpose we need Norton's theorem. Now, the you in the competitive exams you must know that this is what your Thevenin's equivalent circuit, and what is this? This is your Norton's equivalent circuit. This you all should know, that a series circuit can be formed across the load. Across the load, then this is known as Thevenin's theorem, and across the load, if the parallel circuit is formed, then it is known as your Norton's theorem. Now, what is this? See. Now, this is a very good example, students. This is a very Thevenin's equivalent circuit. Here, what this example is depicting, that suppose you are having a speaker and suppose we are having a source. Now, from this source, I am giving supply to this speaker, and I want that from this source, maximum power should be transferred to this source. And at my home there are so many connections. You see, 1 bhk, 2 bhk, 3 bhk rooms are there. If then the complete resistance, if I will calculate, then in my home resistance, suppose it is coming 500 ohms by series parallel reduction, I have calculated. Then this 500 ohms, wait a second, then this 500 ohms which is coming here, this is my Thevenin's resistance, this is the source voltage, this is the voltage across here, and now I can what should be my load? This, suppose this is the load. Now if I want to transfer maximum power, then I have two probabilities. What were the probabilities? That my speaker resistance can be made 500, or my load Thevenin's resistance can be made 8. By doing this, what will happen? There will be a maximum power transfer to this load. This is the conclusions why we are studying. See, maximum power transfer theorem. Already it is coming on the screen. So, what this power theorem is showing us, that at this particular point there is a maximum power transfer, and at this particular and this power transfer is changing with the load resistance. So if you are if and this is the point you should understand. This is the point where the load resistance is equal to this Thevenin's resistance. The load resistance becomes equal to Thevenin's resistance. So this is a question which was asked to me also in my interviews, that sir, what is the meaning of maximum power transfer theorem? So by this you have to answer in very short. If I want to supply load the maximum power, then that load resistance should be equal to the circuit Thevenin's resistance. Okay. So there is a question to you all which was asked to me in my company interview. Somebody asked me that suppose there is a battery of internal resistance 0, and if somebody has connected a resistance here, suppose this is a 10 volt source and this is a 2 ohm, this is a 2 ohm resistance, and somebody asked me that if the internal resistance of the battery is 0, internal resistance of the battery is 0, this internal resistance, then tell me, for transferring maximum power, what will be the what will be what should be the resistance of the load? This you have to answer the students in the comment section. If you will be answering me, then I think that you have understood everything. Now, this whether it is the case of TV antenna, whether it is the case of source or load, the main thing you have to study, that to transfer power maximum from source to load, the load resistance should be equal to the intermediate Thevenin's resistance, which is calculated across the load terminals. All right. So on the screen, maximum power transfer theorem advantages are given, and I have taken too much time on these three theorems only, because they are their practical applications are too much, students. And uh, wait for a second. Okay, and this in let us read this. In many electrical and electronic applications, we are interested in the amount of power received by a particular load. Okay, here. Received by a particular load. We are interested in this. So if the power received is less, then what we can do? We have to know, we should know the resistance of the load and our tries. हमारी मेहनत किस चीज के लिए होनी चाहिए फिर that कि अगर we have known the load resistance, then we have to find out the Thevenin's resistance or we can compensate that resistance so that maximum power can be transferred. Okay. So dear students, this is the assignment work. You all know about this assignment work, and by this assignment, I will be providing you three videos are completed, and of the three videos, what I have told you, I have explained you about the resistance clearly, about the inductance, passive element data, and about the capacitance. And after explaining these three, I have explained you about their voltage DC circuit and source analysis and the AC circuit source analysis. I have also explained you these two analyses were very, very important. In the DC, we have understood about transient analysis and steady state analysis, and in the AC, there is no transient analysis, there is only steady state analysis. And by this, we have in the AC, there was a particular lagging and leading terms, lagging power factor, leading power factor terms. These all terms are associated with the AC. You all also should know that the reactive power, the term which we are using in our electrical engineering, this term is also present in your AC only, that is not present in your DC. If somebody says you in an interview that if we have in all over India we are doing DC transmission in place of AC transmission, then will there will be reactive power? So the answer will be no. If we are transmitting current as DC to the sources, then there will be no generation of inductance as a distributed element, and hence the reactive power loss can be protected. But we are transmitting AC and because it is of less cost, so we have to manage the reactive power loss by compensation techniques. Okay, and this DC I have already explained you. One thing more I would like to tell you here that if there is a sudden change in AC also, why we are studying actually DC or transient? If there is a sudden change, suppose smooth function is going on and there is a certain blackout, or sudden there is a spike, then that will also be behaving like a DC because it is sudden and it is coming directly. Then that type of changes which are coming in AC are generating a small DC change in their own, and then that will also will lead to this transient and steady state analysis. I think I have cleared you all about these all things. I will be sharing you questions and about the previous three videos. I hope it is clear to you all, and meet you in my next videos of control system.